out of the 5 elements, earth element is governed by the Muladhara Chakra. Out of the 3 humors of Ayurveda, that is vata, pitta, kapha, vata being air, pitta being bile or heat, and kapha being phlegm. Vata is controlled by Muladhara Chakra. If you meditate on Muladhara Chakra, on the root plexus, diseases of the bones and diseases arising out of imbalance in vata, in wind or air, can be controlled, can somewhat be prevented by meditating on the Muladhara Chakra. It also balances your earth element. 5 faces of the Devi in Muladhara Chakra represent 5 sense organs through which we perceive all sensory information, receive all sensory information, and 5 cognitive organs through which we do all actions, whether that's our limbs and mouth and so on. When you are not in control, then we have little control over our actions and our thoughts. We never get tired of having more. If we say no to enjoying our life, to sense gratification, it's only temporary until the person is ready again. When you meditate on Muladhara, this is where Kundalini is at the moment. And this is where the whole world is. Most people spend their lives between gratifying themselves and just acting. Working towards something, receiving the benefit, spending that benefit or expending that benefit, and then starting all over again. For Muladhara Chakra and for Swadhisthana, we'll get to that in a moment, there is one standard kriya, one physical activity that helps you energize it. But we'll get to that once I finish explaining the next chakra as well. But the main thing to remember about Muladhara Chakra is, if you wish to visualize on it, then the color of this chakra is vibrant orange. So as you know, and I've written that in my book on Kundalini as well, there is a traditional school of thought when it comes to Kundalini where the seed syllables are different and the colors are different. But I am simply going with the first original and the core text on Kundalini and my own experience. What you will discover as you progress on the path of awakening Kundalini, that neither colors nor the seed syllables of the chakras are of much use eventually. You can accomplish all that with the Kundalini Mahamantra. Even practically speaking, if I said to you, now please visualize vibrant orange color on your root chakra, it's a senseless proposition. Because your visualization will always be where your inner attention or inner eye is, or where your external eye is. You will think you are visualizing on that chakra, but it's not actually happening. The closest you can do is imagine an object of that color and imagine that object in your chakra. And maybe that's why they came up with the concept of petals or various deities controlling a certain chakra. But none of that is necessary at all. Like with all other things, my job is to share with you A, how I know the truth, and B, simplify it in such a manner that anybody may understand it. Although I do so at the expense of coming across a simpleton sometimes, because when people talk about me or my discourses, they say, this guy is too straightforward. We understand everything. He's not an enlightened being. He doesn't talk any complicated stuff. We can understand whatever he's saying. If on the contrary, you write something, if I wrote something or you read something which you wouldn't understand, some very deep concepts of mysticism, or talking about this Nad Bindu and how Kundalini is awakened and it goes into some other world and you fly and this siddhis and so on. When you don't understand something, you say, this guy is real stuff. Really, it's the truth. You say, we don't understand. Therefore, he is above us. He is talking something that we don't know. So we have to get to his level of consciousness so that we can understand what he's saying. Clearly, he is much more awakened. He is way beyond us because we don't know what he's talking about. And we have to do all these things he's telling us to do to get to that level. Very recently, I read this about this experiment in a book called Paranormality. I don't remember the author. And he talked about this experiment that was done in a university. So there was a forum like this. Well, by this I mean there were a lot of people there, researchers, professors, students. And this scientist, he was a psychologist, he hired an actor. And he said to the actor, we are just going to club together some random sentences which have no meaning, which have no connection, which are practically senseless sentences. And you will just have to read it out to the audience with great confidence. And the actor was hired, and he was trained, and he delivered a lecture lasting 30 minutes of random sentences. Please understand this, random sentences. Words just jumbled up together, sentences just clubbed together, and he's just delivering. When his lecture ended, feedback was sought from the audience. 95% of the people in the audience said, this was mind-blowing stuff. I'm not making it up. You can read that book. They said it was mind-blowing stuff. We have never heard in our life anything like this. 65% of the people said, we have walked away with so much learning. This is lifetime's worth of food. So this world is full of such people who will complicate the matter so much that you have a billion variables to look for and go wrong. And then you'll say, maybe I didn't understand him correctly, or maybe I'm doing it wrong, and this and that and the other. But truth is always very simple. Lies are always complicated. So my job is to simplify the truth for you. In doing so, I could have gone with the very safe approach of just using the seed syllables as it's written in those books. I could have done that. Think about it for a moment. I could have said, these are the colors, these are the seed syllables. You had said, this guy knows Kundalini because I read it in that text and that's what it said. And he's saying exactly the same thing. But that would be doing you great disservice. If you simply follow what we are going to be covering and what we have covered so far, I can promise you awakening. Will you fly after that? Only if you have a plane ticket. So will you, all those siddhis of becoming heavy and light, will you become heavy? I don't know what kind of diet you eat. So, will you become light? Maybe. But I promise you, if you follow this, your life and your perspective towards yourself and the world, and subsequently the way you perceive things, will undergo irreversible sea change. Until you reach your Manipur chakra, the navel chakra, until then, any transformation you experience is reversible. It's like you have heated the milk, leave it alone, it's gonna go cold again. But once you cross that chakra, which coincidentally also represents the second knot, once you cross that chakra, any transformation you experience is going to be irreversible. It's going to be with you lifelong. And that's the kind of transformation we seek. That's the kind of transformation worth working towards or working for. Because the other kind can easily be induced by many substances. I could feel very happy watching a scenery. I could feel elated by watching a certain movie. I could feel euphoric by listening to a particular song. But I don't want to be dependent on external mediums that take me on a roller coaster ride. Instead, I want to know what is my source and what is that ocean of bliss that sages before us have talked about. And it's very simple. So, Muladhara Ambuja Ruda Panchbhaktarasti Sanstita. The Devi is situated in bones. When I say Devi, I mean the energy here. And she has 5 faces. Because the physical aspect of her life, the grossest aspect of her life, is all about satisfying ourselves, gratifying ourselves, and working very hard. At the root level, when you are at the base level, your entire life goes in just that. There is no rising from that. Sometimes I tell people, nobody from the village where our ashram is has ever come to me and said, I am suffering from severe depression. Nobody has said that to me. They have to get up at 5 in the morning, they have to be in their fields, they have to irrigate, plow, and do the rest of the stuff. They have to survive. If they don't maintain and manage their crops this season, they won't have anything to eat the next season. So they are involved at the root level. So after drinking the nectar, after reaching the highest state, Kundalini has slipped and slipped and slipped and slid, and it's just at the lowest level, where we are just engrossed in all things bodily. Everything is about the body. Body feels tired, let us give it some rest. Body feels sleepy, let us give it a bit of a nap or sleep. Body feels hungry, let me feed it. And so on and so forth. We are left with then little time to even contemplate on higher things, on things that go beyond the body. So after your Muladhara Chakra, Lalita Sahasranam talks about the Swadhisthana Chakra, which is your sacral plexus.